Do you think that you could start explaining what Polysights actually is, and do people actually confuse you with Polymarket?
The names are similar, but I mean, our platforms are just so different. We're mostly like an analytics and monitoring tool. Right now, we're mostly advanced analytics for markets, potentially finding insiders on chain, expanding heavily into like the intelligence and strategy layer for prediction markets.
What did being an intern mean at that time? Is just operations, product?
I think it mostly was to grow the brand, because when I first joined, we had some motion on social media, but it still wasn't too much. We were still carving out a name for ourselves, but I think now we've really aligned ourselves with the community and got in touch with the right people.
You signed the contract or whatever it's signed, right? So you sign and you just like, we're going to invest, and then they're just kind of pulled out. That's what happened. They just...
So I bought the government contract, moved my wife and my 2-year-old, back to the city. I'm like, okay, let's get everything going. Had office space, I have all these things set up, and then all of a sudden they just like give me an ultimatum, like right after Christmas. They're like, hey, like, you have 2 weeks to finish your raise or we're out. There's so many ups and downs you have in business. You have to expect it. It was a nightmare.
I wanted actually to capture the excitement of what just happened behind the scenes of Tre and Justin being very excited about the fact that Token 2049 is going to be moved to Hong Kong, possibly. So you love Hong Kong, right? I didn't expect to start with that, but let's go. So what happened in Hong Kong, guys? What happened?
Lots of flavored cigarettes and late night takeout. Side event.
Flavored, you mean chocolate, coffee, vanilla, and stuff?
Maybe like watermelon and apple.
Oh.
They're all banned here in Canada, so it was candy.
Yeah. So hey, you guys.
That's not the main reason, but that was a pretty good one.
I love that. We here don't like to do things in a conventional way, so I love that. But again, hey guys, this is hopefully your favorite podcast host, Catherine, without Tal today because he has been drafted. Yes, this is the reality that we're living in right now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he said, I'm not sure. Like it's not active duty, but it's something else. Tal, forgive me, I forgot what exactly you said.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So no, he's available and stuff. I'm not even sure that I'm supposed to say, but he said that, and he posted that he has been drafted because he's in Tel Aviv. And it's not a political show, and it's not about politics, but it's about people who are close to us, and it's just kind of hard to ignore. But again, I'm here joined today by amazing Justin and Tre from Polysights, which is, I think, a very interesting data. Could I call you data platform? Would that be correct?
I mean, that works. More like intelligence.
Kinda, yeah.
But that works as well.
All right. And the thing is that they're very funny, and I think they have a lot to say, and excited about this podcast, despite of what's going on behind the scenes and with people that we love and care about. But do you think that you could start explaining what Polysights actually is, and do people actually confuse you with Polymarket? Tre, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, I feel like
As a founder.
It's definitely very rare. I mean, like the names are similar, but I mean, our platforms are just so different. We're mostly like an analytics and monitoring tool where they have like the full exchange. But we'll eventually get there. But yeah, right now we're mostly advanced analytics for markets, potentially finding insiders on chain, expanding heavily into like the intelligence and strategy layer for prediction markets. So kind of just like the intelligence layer for all these different users, depending if you're someone that's advanced or someone that's never used Python ever in your life. But very excited for where we're going. Just hired 10 other people to our team, expanding heavily into execution, and just excited to get this snowball rolling.
Here's the thing. I'd love to put a disclaimer that Tre actually warned me that he hasn't slept for 30 hours prior to this particular recording, which is happening on March 2nd. Hopefully we're gonna air this next week. But yeah, so it's a week ahead that you're watching this or listening to this. But yeah, Tre said that you guys had just a sprint that you were
basically we had like new UX UI team come on board the last couple of months. They've been working really hard every day, and they finally just finished up like the full UI. So we've been implementing it into our new front end, and it's just like it's a very intricate process, just like every single component, trying to balance out like the mobile side and the desktop reactions, and there's a lot of work going into it. And every time I think it's gonna finish up, there's always something else I find like a problem for, and I extend my my night another couple of hours. But hey, we're pretty much done now, and it's good. But it was a long go.
So you're basically not responsible for potentially what you could say, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll put it on Put it on
This
the yeah.
this is actually a perfect example of a builder, and this is the builder mode, which is, I think, a synonym to beast mode or founder mode. I'm
Mm.
gonna coin that expression, hopefully. But yeah, and here's a question: even though it is very iconic and it is very true of being a founder, but could you have just given your team a day off? Because it was, again, it's Monday, you haven't slept for 30 hours. It's even morning for you guys because you guys are in Canada, right? Not here in Munich. So why would you not let them have a day off? Why
I mean,
Sunday?
we have sprints, but I feel like everyone that's part of the startup, they know that they're not part of like a regular traditional 9 to 5. We're gonna have days we're working all night on our own weekends. But even for this sprint here, I mean, I tried to keep the team locked in and energetic for our sprint coming up this week. I mean, me personally, I'll just take one sleep tonight and I'll be back on board. But yeah, it's just like balance. I think as a leader, making sure everybody's energetic and but not overworked at the same time. But when it's time to put the gears on, everyone's ready to lock in.
All right. So are you gonna sleep after the recording, or are you gonna have
Oh
a
yeah.
full day of work? Oh, so,
No, I'm going.
so not
I'm
letting
going right to
you
sleep.
sleep.
I'm deploying the
Okay.
nude front end, and then
Yeah.
going right to sleep, and
All
then
right.
back to work again to do the back end stuff as soon as I wake up.
Oh, Jamie wants to chime in. My dog, he's really observing what's going on. He might have comments.
Yeah.
So yeah, and here's the thing, right? I have learned that both Trey and Justin are cat people. So I'm being very politically correct right
Wrong with
now and
that?
trying to support it. No, it's just it's a whole thing with me and dogs and cats and stuff. But never mind. Justin actually has a pretty amazing story of joining Polysights, right? And Justin, could you share your journey? You joined as an intern, right? And then
And then yeah.
yeah.
So
And he's
so
a
ba-
Word.
CGO pretty much now, C-suite level.
so basically back in the summer I was doing a co-op because I'm still in school. I go to Waterloo.
Oh
Um
wow.
yeah. So anyways, I was still in school at the time. I was doing a co-op. I wasn't really happy with where I was, and I really wanted to do some more with my life. And I had an opportunity. A couple friends recommended me to Trey, and we all started working together. And I really liked the energy, like how we were talking about. You get like a weekend off or something for work. I like that you just keep working as much as you want, and you basically see what you get out of it, and that's what I really liked about it. So eventually, I grew to like Polymarket a lot and everything. So
So
it
you're
ended up, yeah.
what was your job as you started? So what did being an intern mean at that time? Is just operations, product?
I think it mostly was to grow the brand because when I first joined, we had some motion on social media, but it still wasn't too much. We were still carving out a name for ourselves, but I think now we've really aligned ourselves with the community and got in touch with the right people.
And your current title says head of growth,
Yeah.
according to your Twitter, because I checked, right? I said, what
Yeah.
does that entail right now? Is it community content marketing, product? Again, so what does that
Uh,
entail?
yeah, it's mostly community and content, and maybe some business on the side.
Some business on the side sounds shady. Okay, I'm kidding. Trey,
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah, that's the way you said that. What do you think we're doing over
ordering
here?
ordering Trey coffee. It has to be a very hot latte from Starbucks, heated in a microwave, and it's actually me referencing Devil Wears Prada, but I'm not sure if you saw that movie.
Oh, it's
But the
been a
second
while.
part
I've
is
heard of
coming
it.
this year. Have you guys? Have you
When
seen
it's
it?
coming out
I've
again?
heard of it. I've heard of it.
You've heard? Oh my god!
I feel
It's
like that's like
either
What?
I'm
early
very old.
2000s. No,
Wait,
that's the goat
it's
movie.
either I'm very old or too much, or know too much about the like other stuff that is happening in the world. But Devil Wears Prada is classic. You have to. It's about fashion and Miranda Price. Oh my god, I feel so alone sometimes. But yeah, the second part that was over 10 years and not in the making, but people were expecting that is finally coming this year. So take a day, take a couple of hours off and go see that because I think it's airing in May. I think it's the premiere is in May. But
It's a huge good movie.
seriously, never like has nobody ever told you about that movie? Never mind, we're going back to the Bildor.
I
So
thought
Trey,
it
well, yeah, Trey. from your perspective, right? You told me that Polysights is very young. Is it a year already, or a year and a little bit older, or not even a year?
I'd say like we're just coming up to a year. I've been working on
Okay.
it for over a year, but it's only been live for like I think like 11 months so far. But
I
yeah, very early.
I will be asking you about, your background, because there is definitely the stories that I want the world to hear. But from your perspective as a founder, right? You have an intern who is in school, still in school, and you're managing a lot of things at the same time. But then you decided to promote them. Like, could you tell us from a founder's perspective, how does that work? Is it just you see talented people and you let them grow, or it was just Justin? It's not about you specifically, or it's just because of the lack of the resources. No, no, I'm just.
He's roasting you.
No, it's all
I had no
good.
one else. I had no one else. I needed this.
Yeah, you just picked me off the street. Just picked me off the street. Like.
Well, at least we're getting the truth here.
Yeah.
Or was the coffee really good?
That was it. Yeah, I made the best coffee, so I had to bring him on.
I mean, that's a very fair point. I would keep people around for the good coffee, but no, seriously, Tre, could you walk us through that?
Yeah, I feel like this might sound like a little cocky, but I used to be a really high level of gaming, like top 0.1%. And I feel like no matter what it is, whether it's sports, gaming, or any niche, if you're able to become great at something, you have an ability to identify talent at a high level. I think it's a lot of like repetition and just execution and hustle comes into it. Sometimes it doesn't even matter how smart you are. It's just you just have to have that drive. And when Justin came on board, he worked way above expectations without pay. I mean, it was every single day. He was learning very quick in the space. He had no idea really about prediction markets at all, and now he's like an expert that's tied to, or pretty much contacted with some of the top traders now. So yeah, just like I'm very impressed with his hunger, his work ethic, his ability to learn. And I felt like I got a lot of those signs at a pretty young stage, and trying to keep up the same mentality with hiring the other team that we just brought on board as well.
All right. I don't think I have heard such a healthy response in a while, because the thing is about founders, and I'm sorry, guys, but it's true. I'm going to be spitting truth here like an old lady. I've been around. The thing is that founders sometimes have huge egos, which I think, and for my personal experience, kind of gets in the way of growth. And from what I can hear, Tre, that was actually a very healthy approach to people, to let that you see a talent and you let them grow, you let them develop. You gave actually Justin this opportunity to to be the best version of himself. So that's, I think this is just great, because I'd love to hear that more. I don't hear that often. I hear founders being afraid of very creative and very proactive people sometimes, and that kind of creates a very toxic atmosphere in the company, and I'm not even sure how they're growing, which I don't think is the case with Polysights from what I hear. So Tre, could you tell us a little bit about the story behind Polymarkets? Like, did you just decide to have a crypto company because it's cutesy? Let's go with
Oh,
cutesy.
cutesy's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Just I've always had like a huge tech niche. Like I grew up, just like glued to computers because I had a rough childhood growing up. So this transitioned very well to it. And when I was in the Air Force full time, I just dove into like e-commerce. And when you're in e-commerce, you just wear a lot of different hats, like between like marketing and growth and all these different skills you learn quickly. So yeah, I got to a point where I eventually left the military. I exited my business for way lower than I should have, and then just kind of like got into trading and just found like, okay, this is really fun. Like everything was flying at the time. It was like 2020 or something like that. So 2021, like everything in Binance is going crazy. So I don't know, I just fell in love with it, and then eventually went from trading to building, and just kind of found myself here. The last product I built was unfortunately on the Blast blockchain. I wanted to bet on Pac-Man as a founder. So I solo funded and bootstrapped the top name service on Blast from 2023 to end of 2024. But there's just no users there. So, I mean, it was tough. Like he told everyone in Singapore, he's like, hey, like don't give up. They didn't post in 3 months. He's like, hey, don't give up on us, blah, blah, blah. Like we're going to do a mobile route. I hired like devs for like 50K. There's just like no users to monetize to anymore. So I'm like, okay, this is a ghost town. Like this is crazy. They gave up on their chain. So like right away I started Polysights like a month later. Just wanted to build something with a way higher ceiling, had like a data science background. And I found like a lot of the data was just like not very drilled down. Like they didn't have, like volume and open interest on like 1 hour, for example. So I started getting all these deltas, create custom formulas. That was like the first moat. Then I brought Justin on board in July, and then we released like the Insider Finder tool, and that was like where most of our PMF came from. We basically were the first app to make like insider identification in prediction markets, and we've grown to 35,000 users now, 8,000 returning, and posted by New York Times, Bloomberg, etc. But yeah, just lucky, right timing, unique tool for people to use that actually make money, and it's been great, amazing experience so far.
And because you're can I say that you're pretty early into the space? Not you have been early, but
Absolutely. Oh,
currently
it's
you're
just
pretty
super
early,
early.
right? Because you're coming in with pretty fresh eyes and energy, which a lot of people who have been around in the space don't have anymore. Because that's what the space does to you. Look
It's
at
been
me.
since like 2017 or something. Yeah, I can imagine. Like that's like almost a
Yes.
decade.
So that's exactly the point. I've been here since 2017, and it felt like eternity. And you aged way faster than you're supposed to.
Oh yeah.
Literally, ask anybody. The people that I know from back in the day, they're just like, "Oh man," and you're just like, "Oh yeah." You don't have to
It just
say
goes by
anything.
so fast because you're just so locked into so many
It
different
is true.
avenues so fast, and
It is true, and that's why it's
it's
very
crazy.
very interesting for me to ask you guys how you feel about building. Do you still feel excitement? Because I'm sorry, you're young. See, that's it.
I'm 30. I'm 30 in 3 months. Yeah, I'm getting older.
Well, you're pretty close to me. Yeah, I'm almost 30. But yeah, so it's still like you're coming with a fresh perspective in the industry that is okay, pretty young compared to the traditional finance, but it has been around. Right? It has been around the block. Let's put it that way. How do you feel? Do you feel it's easy to get in, to understand, to build network, to come and talk to people and to actually start building? What's your perspective on building in crypto right now? Because I think you guys are what we call a new cycle.
I
So
think
how
Justin
does
be
it
good to
feel?
answer this because he comes from a more like traditional like social media background with like 100,000 on TikTok and stuff. So his transition would probably be a better answer than what I could provide.
Yeah, perfect, Justin. Yes.
Yeah, so I guess I would be what the guys call a normie coming into this. So
Okay.
la-
Normie. You too,
last
Normie. I love it.
so last consensus in Toronto was like my first ever one, and I guess like that was when Bitcoin was like all time high and everyone was hype.
Christening with fire, huh?
Yeah, and yeah, so there was a lot of weird side events going on, money being thrown left and right, I guess. But then obviously I stayed and we just went to consensus in Hong Kong, and it's a
Which was
very
apparently a success.
it,
based
it
on
was
the
Oh
it
yeah.
based
was
on the
oh
narrative.
yeah, it was a
Oh,
fun time. It was a very fun time, don't get me wrong, but I could feel the vibes were a little different. I felt like a lot of the guys who were only here for hype and just throwing money around left. So right now I feel like would be a really easy or good time to build. And in prediction markets in general, I think we're still very early. Everyone's super friendly in the space. You can learn a lot of information. There's a lot of ways to find edges and just build a community. So that's what I'm getting away from it.
Yeah, the
mhm.
conferences are definitely very like institutional and
Yeah,
like more professional than the ones I've been to in the past, which is kind of I feel like a good sign. I don't know. It's like a
yeah.
reset. It's like already like been hitting.
Actually, you've touched a little bit on prediction markets, and I do have a lot of follow ups, but I don't want us to go like really far away from what Trey said before. And I'm sorry, I have to get you back to the military because I do have a question. Do you feel like the skills or the discipline that you got in military, that I assume you got in military, because I don't think that this is a like cutesy time.
Oh, it
You
changed my life. It changed my
so
life.
yeah,
I
how
was
it could be a very cheesy question, but I want to ask that. How did it shape you as a founder, if it did? And did it change some of the perspective that you had?
yeah, I was honestly like most of my drive was just in like video games before, and when I got into the military, when you're kind of
Mhm.
forced into basic training and 3 months of all this nonsense, you get knocked down and built back up together, and it just kind of knocked the level of discipline that I just never had, and I definitely needed at like 19 years old, and it just locked me in. Like I ended up exiting my first company at 23. Before that, I never had any business aspirations. I just found that I was able to work a regular job in the Air Force, and I still felt like I had a much more delivered because it was a very relatively easy job, and despite being search and rescue. But yeah, I just honestly like I felt like the talents and leadership ability you learn there, it transitions so well. I think the discipline aspect is definitely the most important though. I feel like the people who I honestly recommend just like a couple of years or 1 year. If you have no discipline, like just take a round there for a little bit, do like reserves or something, just something, because it changes you as a person, especially when you're young and you're still shaping up like how you are. for me, like I don't know. I wish it was a bum. Like besides go to besides like being good at gaming, like I didn't really do anything else. So yeah, changed my life. Really positive.
Change your, the reason I'm asking is like my father was obviously in military, and he served in the Afghanistan
Oh
war
wow.
back in the USSR. He was chief paratrooper or something like that. And so obviously
Jeez.
this is not just regular military, this is war. And obviously he suffered like huge PTSD. It's just, it stays with you forever because of the horrors and terrors that he told me, and what I'm sure he didn't tell me, just to keep me sane. And the what he said, he is a business owner. He is a successful business owner, a couple of businesses actually. And the perseverance skill that he learned there,
Mm.
despite, no matter what, you should find an answer, and
Always
you should
adapt. Yeah.
adapt,
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
pivot if necessary, and make decisions. You got to make wrong decisions sometimes. It's okay, but you have to accept the consequences and move on. And the thing is that he used to be just a very young guy, and when he came back, he quit drinking and smoking, and never ever drink or smoke ever. Like, I've never seen my father do that. So, and that's why I'm asking, because he said that the skills that he learned there, that he kind of took it with him in real life, and it was actually very hard to adapt because, again, war. But still, and I think that, we sometimes talk about military because in some countries this is not something that people are obliged to do, right? But where I come from, and it's Belarus, every single man, of, starting from 18 till whatever age
Oh,
they're
it's a
drafted.
mandatory to do like
It says
a
Yes, it is
conscription.
oh
mandatory. It is
Conscription.
mandatory.
Yeah.
like
Oh,
South
okay.
Korea. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
and
that's
also
kind of good though in a way. Like I think
see,
Really?
you know, I think it
see,
is like
I hear mixed things about it, especially in Korea, because they're like, oh, I'm wasting like 2 years of my prime years, you
two
it
know?
is.
years is crazy. That's a while. I thought it was like 2 months.
No,
That was
no,
No, no,
bro,
no, no,
no, bro.
no. So the
That's
thing
crazy.
is that based on what you're saying, every single person coming out of the military service is supposed to be a founder. It's supposed to be
No,
adaptive,
I
and
met a lot of bombs in the military too, though. I'll tell you that. Holy mackerel!
I
Holy
think I
mackerel!
think it's what you make of it, right? It's everything what
yes,
you make of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when
yeah.
you're young, it's like a great career with a lot of salary, with a lot of security, and if you take more risks with that, I think it pays off. But there's some people out there that that's their ceiling, and they're happy with that. That's fine, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Mhm.
It just I don't know. There's a lot of great founders in the military, but there's a lot of bums too. A lot of
Yeah,
bums.
yeah.
All right.
Holy.
All right. I think it's a very, actually also a dangerous topic right now because, well, in Israel, for instance, which is also the one word is very dangerous at this point, it is obligatory and mandatory for everybody, not only for men but for women also, and it's like
Right.
it's insane. So everybody has to go to military, which is, I think it's a very difficult thing to do. But I know, Trey, that you've mentioned, because we spoke before, and you mentioned one of the stories on your VC experience, right?
Oh
And
my
I
goodness.
feel like this is a very great story, and people need to hear that. So, could you tell me that with the same personal flair? Could you tell us what you told me? So you
I
were
can't say
raising
names. I
funds.
will, but I can't say.
No,
I can't say names.
it's okay. It's okay. But so they just, were you raising funds for Polysights, or
Right, right.
all
I
right? So
usually I solo fund and I bootstrap with revenue all my products. This is the first time I've ever raised VC because the industry is just moving so fast. Um, I think talent acquisition and execution speed is so
and you
important.
were okay with like sharing revenue and getting, a little bit of control to someone else because you needed cash. Is that what
No,
you?
I just need team. I need a team,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I need to execute fast. And there's a lot of competition coming up, and I think this
Mhm.
market's just the ceiling's so high. We have support from two of the top, like the duopoly of Kalshi and Polymarket. They're both valued at like 10 bill, and they give us both a lot of support. So I just think that there's a lot to go here. I haven't had this feeling in a long time, like ever since e-commerce. I feel like, and I'm even more excited with this than I am with e-commerce. We have the DC round, supposed to raise 2 mil. I started like right before Christmas, and we had a ton of traction. Like obviously way more traction now. We doubled our users every single month since, but had a lot of traction. Everyone's kind of getting into prediction markets. So I know VC is kind of like FOMO, kind of like meme coin traders sometimes. Like sometimes things get hyped. They just want to like dive in. So eventually we talked to some VCs that approached us. I wasn't cold approaching. I was only speaking to VCs that approached me. and ended up like raising 1 mil from a pretty strong VC. And like they were, gassing me up, saying, "Hey, like we never invested in a solo founder before. This is their first time. Loving what you're doing. Prediction markets. It's a huge industry, and like this is awesome." And then get everything signed. They're sending all this paperwork over. We're doing legal. All these deals.
Add the personal details. Add the personal. So
No,
you
no.
moved, right?
Okay,
You
yeah,
moved.
no, yeah. Well, that's what I'm getting to. This is what I'm getting
Okay,
to.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
So like
sorry.
it
It's
started moving
important.
up. It started moving on. Like the contracts are moving on, and the VC stuff takes some time. But as soon as like they signed the initial safe contract, I'm not gonna say the initial contract, which I thought was like the final thing. I'm like, okay, well this is great. It's locked in. I went back to the military for years because I had a 2-year-old, and I missed like just spending time with him, and I just wanted to see what it was like, just test it out. I was already self-employed for several years. I'm like, let's just try it out. It's like 3 months in, I was like, I already hate this. Like I was like, I'm like locked in for the founder thing. So every single day I was coming home working on Polysights and scaling it. So I launched Polysights like while I was working again in a government contract. But yeah, so once I got the official confirmation they invested, I left and ended my government contract. That takes like a month just to like go through. I bought it out as well because I didn't. It was supposed to be like a year, and I ended it early. So I bought the government contract, moved my wife and my 2-year-old, back to the city. I'm like, okay, let's get everything going. Had office space set up, which we're still doing, starting today actually. But had office space set up, all these things set up, and then all of a sudden, they just like give me an ultimatum, like right after Christmas. They're like, hey, like you have two weeks to finish your raise or we're out. And at this point, I already got several other investors. We had a huge gap between the holidays. Like there was no one in office between like mid-December and mid-Jan. So they come back. I had 1.8 million raised at a 2 mil, and they're like, you have 2 weeks to do 200K. I'm like, oh my god. So I try to push it. I'm like, just give me 2 weeks to go to Hong Kong. I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. And but in the end, they just ended up dropping. They wouldn't let me close early. Wouldn't be nothing. But after that, I'm being long-winded here. But after that, replace them. Like obviously, it was really down. This sucks. But there's so many ups and downs you have in business. You have to expect it. You have to adapt, like we were saying earlier. If you don't adapt, like you're cooked. You can't dwell on it. So if you really believe in your business, you just keep building, and that's what we did. I just hired a team out. We already had other investors on board that didn't give up on us, and we just kind of got other investors on and closed around a little under than what we wanted to, but it's so fantastic. But yeah, it was a nightmare. It was just like up and down. I have a horrible judgment with VCs.
I can imagine. It's just like it's incomprehensible at some point. So you sign the contract or whatever it's signed, right? So you sign and you just like, we're gonna invest, and then they're just kind of pulled out. That's what happened.
They took advantage of the fact that I didn't know the difference between like that final safe and token warrant compared to like the final terms being signed. So they signed the final term contract, which like I signed as well, and then you're supposed to sign another contract. But in my mind, I'm okay, well, the final terms are signed, so these guys are on board legally. But technically, it's the safe and the token warrant that gives them the legal obligation. So they knew about that, and I guess a lot of VCs after the holidays just lost a lot of sentiment. A lot of them started feeling like really bearish. We had a big drop in crypto and all these things. So yeah, they just ended up pulling out, and I was like, that's really shitty. But it is what it is.
When you told me the story, I double checked with the VC that I know, because obviously you didn't name names, and I was just like, "Hey, this is this crazy story. Like, is this even possible?" And he said, "No, actually, when everything is signed, what you have to wait for is just for the money to come in, and that's it. There is no other steps." So that's like really weird. And what's upsetting is that you made life decisions based on your understanding or expectations, right? So this is really really weird.
Absolutely.
So, what would the lesson be for you and for everybody who's
for
listening?
Anyone else that gets in my situation? If you're raising VC funds, first of all, get the funding sent right away. Don't wait on anything. Like as soon as they say it's signed and they're still bullish, like literally like push them and consistently push them. I didn't ask them for the funds right away because I thought they were already in the midst of getting this ready. It's my fault for not having a mentor in this space that's in VC. I do now. Luckily, I met a lot of people because of this raise issue. But yeah, just like get the funds raised right away. Don't be ADHD like me in the calls. I learned so much on just like pitching the first like couple of months. Like, don't talk to these VCs like they're your friends, because they're not. Like, you have to be efficient, not long-winded, confident. I'm way better now at practice, but someone like me, like I just babble. I just say what's off the top of my head, and it gets rambly, right? So on a VC side, they don't think it's confident. They don't think you have everything prepared. It's just a lot of different things. It's all like a people game, and I'm not a sales guy or people's guy, so sometimes like it was a really big hurdle for me. But some people have those skills and they're able to leverage that. Some people don't, and it takes them longer to learn. But just learn from your mistakes. Don't give up. There's so many VCs out there, so many different ticket sizes. So if you get turned down by 10, 20, or 30, just like don't think it's you personally. Sometimes they just have internal issues, or sometimes like they just something like the market. They'll give you different excuses. We had so many tier one VCs be like, yeah, we really like you. We had several meetings at an IC, and they're like, okay, well, we just want to see a little bit more. We're a pre-seed company with 35,000 users. I don't know, like they want revenue as well. It's like, okay, it's like at this point,
do they? You know that this huge story, not the huge, but the huge, I think, conspiracy. You don't have to be profitable to run a huge business. That's the thing, right? You don't have to show profit for decades if you're Amazon.
Pre-seed, like you're supposed to raise off an idea. Like I don't.
Yes.
Like, we saw a team raise $15 million in prediction markets, and as soon as I found out the product they were raising for, I'm like, this isn't going to work because I'm a tech guy for it, and I tried building this product myself. And basically it was leverage, and he's offering way higher leverage. The books were too liquid to actually handle the leverage for it. But he sold like an idea and a story to all these ventures, and they all loved it, not understanding. 15 million. And not only did they raise 15 million, he kept 10. 10 million of it. So like it's just like so many scammers and extractors out there. So then they get like all bullish because of that. So it's just like for them to be approached by thousands of people is what you gotta remember. They get approached by so many people. So even if you are a true diamond in the haystack, like it's hard for them to actually see that because like they've been manipulated so many times, talking games. So it's just like it's a whole game. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a whole new thing.
It is a game. And I think what you mentioned is a very important lesson for everybody. As you said, when you're rambling or, being yourself and not exactly Leonardo DiCaprio playing the Wolf of Wall Street.
Exactly.
Trying to sell a pen. Wait, I have a pen. Trying to sell a pen.
I'm horrible at that, man. I'm horrible.
I think the biggest lesson is Adam Newman from WeWork. The guy was able to convince everybody to invest into real estate. Basically, that's what he did. Yeah, it's an insane story. If you probably know Adam Newman, right?
Yeah,
from the founder of WeWork. So that's an insane story. But I've heard that before. People invest or VCs, there are so many not actually great decisions that they do that they make, but what they do is they have to like a founder, or they have to like your personality or what you're selling. So I don't know, Trey, looking at you, I would invest in you just because no, but let me if you
get some funding, get some liquidity prize in there.
I'd invest in him too.
Right ticket.
I'd invest in him too.
Because he's authentic. That's the thing. Not even because he said things like healthy approach to I'm so happy I'm not with media anymore because I wouldn't be allowed to say what I really think. And now I'm coming up as biased. But no, seriously, like, you have a healthy approach to your team and to your idea, right? And you're very energetic and you're you. You're not trying to be anybody else. You're not trying to be I don't know, the one and only who's gonna change. Oh no, revolutionize.
American Psycho and all those guys, like all those
revolutionize
people,
whatever I'm selling. I'm gonna revolutionize this industry, and I'm gonna make you all rich. But you're already all wealthy, filthy rich, if you will, VCs and stuff. But yeah, so I don't understand that. I don't think that's fair. But it is a cruel world, especially the VC one. I think. All right,
it's cold.
So
it's a cold one.
It is a cold one. Like, guys, you have so much money. Just try to share it with the founders that you think could make it. That's an idea, right? But it's a whole other conversation that I would like to have, a philosophical one on, but another time probably. So here's the thing, right? I'm actually very interested in who your potential user is. Like, who could be potentially interested in becoming a user or a client at Polysights, and how do you find them? And that's a question to both of you, because Trey, an initial idea or maybe a current pivot if you had, and Justin, how do you attract community and how do you keep them engaged?
I mean, I think Polysights actually works for both very experienced traders and new traders, even institutions. But the way I don't know, Trey, can we mention what we're gonna go off of in the future?
I wouldn't say that.
No.
So you're not giving me an exclusive. Okay, writing it down.
Even tier one company that wants to do a 12-month deal with us for a data, but we can't say the name until
it's already on my list. Yeah, I have a notebook. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but I think our tools are very much so for everyone. Like everyone, we obviously we came out with the Insider Finder. It doesn't matter whether you're an experienced trader or some guy who's just starting for the first time. That's obviously going to be a tool made for everyone to use, and our advanced analytics is also for everyone, whoever whoever wants to look in the market and see what's going on.
Yeah, we're
But how
basically
do
gonna
you
be focusing
find?
on like consumer most first, like for us,
Mhm.
like funneling all of our existing users and creating like our own daily user. Like basically, the goal is to prevent the switching costs from our platform to another. Like the more that they use our tools every single day, the more that they get addicted to them. I think at this point now, with our team expanding from 2 to 12, we have a lot of really cool things coming. Like Dustin was saying, like we're doing like a no code strategy building. So think of like drag and dropping blocks on, like a visual canvas, and you kind of like chaining like automated workflows together, whether it's for automation or execution or intelligence. So zero experience with Python or N8N or any workflow builder, but you should be able to come in and pretty much build very complex tools. So kind of following the vibe coding method a bit. But I think the future of trading is just not going to be by a human. It might be too early to say that now, but I think in the next few years, as agentic tools continue to develop, I think AI agents are going to be the main trading, like the main people trading for us next 3 to 5 years, honestly. So we want to get ahead of that early.
I mean, I do understand what you're saying, and actually, I have spoken to a lot of founders that are sharing the same views, and there is a question, always a question about ethics, and is it going to be a replacement or a potential trader, or if it's your AI bot that is trading for you, is it going to make the same decisions that you would make, or better or worse, or because it doesn't have emotions and stuff, at least for now. Sorry, I just watched the iRobot movie last week, and you probably don't know what that is also.
Why would I not? Of course I do.
Thank you. Oh my
Yeah, Will
god.
Smith.
Is is
Justin,
is
I
is it
robot,
is it like is it like the circle, red
I
He's not gonna know.
circle?
comma
He's not. He's
robot
not.
with
He's
Will
not gonna
Smith.
know it. He's like
Okay.
22.
I don't know. I don't know.
22, what a
I think it's
crazy.
older than. They probably came out before you were born.
Yes,
Really?
I think so. But
Oh.
it's a great movie on AI taking on robots actually taking over
I,
the world. So yeah,
I,
and
yeah.
you should watch it when you have time, if you have time, because I heard Trey is very demanding. He demands people to work on Sundays. Kidding, I'm kidding. But yeah, I have heard founders saying the same thing. And actually, if you truly want to kind of be ahead of times, you should double down on that, because a lot of companies that are copy trading, or a lot of companies that are trading platforms, they really want to do the same thing, and they want to introduce AI bots and stuff like that, or AI copying trading different features, right? But it's the question of how to do it safely, I guess. That's the question. But here's the thing. I actually, and this is a question to Justin. So back in the day, in 2017, just to attract users in crypto, you had to be a true builder, a visionary. You had to understand what you were doing and explaining that in simple terms to present crypto like as an idea to the population that hasn't heard of it or didn't understand it at the time, because that was the time. And I was deputy editor in chief at Cointelegraph back in the day, and we had to choose between a journalist who does not know what crypto is and to teach them, or to hire someone who's a crypto savvy but is not a journalist, and to teach them journalism. So we had to kind of
Yeah,
make
pick
those
and
tough
choose.
decisions.
Yeah.
Yes. And you obviously had to teach some of the aspects of the job. Obviously it changed a lot. So how do you attract users right now? Is it only by shit posting on X or Reddit? Talk to, okay, thank you. Yeah, that's it. No, but seriously, what's the user acquisition strategy? Not, you don't have to reveal all of your secrets, but just in general, what's the most efficient way in your experience right now?
I think right now the most efficient way would probably still be, like as you said,
Shit
shit
posting.
posting on X, number one, but also getting in touch with the community. The community is still not that big. There's only a handful of traders that are actually
Whoa,
like
whoa,
prof.
whoa, whoa. When you say not that big, what are we talking? What are the numbers that we're talking about? A handful of traders. What does that mean? Is it hundreds, thousands, a couple of thousands,
I
hundred
feel like
thousand?
I feel like on X right now there's only maybe 100 100 accounts that I know that are actually getting a lot of attention and motion on there. And
Mm-hmm.
you can actually talk to a lot of these guys, and they have their own communities. They all have their own communities. They all have their own all their friends that they talk to. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the space is still super small, where if you can onboard them or get them to try out your product, because everyone wants to try out a product if it works, right? And our product works. So
Mm-hmm.
they'll use it, they'll tell their friends, and it's so far and so forth.
I think
I,
I think mainly is just we did a lot of organic growth, like growing. Like the only paid marketing we spent so far was mainly the Hong Kong event, and a lot of our growth has just been organic, people using the tool, like word of mouth. And I think organic marketing at the early stage is builds a bigger foundation than a lot of those paid avenues. Because say somebody builds something, with incentives that don't last, the stickiness of a user just isn't there anymore. So for us, yeah, just pure organic, and then now we have such a strong foundation, big user base. I think it's time to execute more paid modes. Like maybe you should post a little bit more, a little more quantity over quality kind of things. But most of my growth's only been on X, so we have different Web two platforms to really explore into. Sponsoring podcasts and hosting tournaments and all these things. I think there's a lot of potential. So yeah, consumer first for us, and then once the consumer modes are ironed out and our marketing modes are kind of scaled, we head more towards the institutional side. But that's gonna take some time.
I found the perfect slogan for you guys because Justin said something that I think is really important. And he said, Our product works. So I think it's time to change your X bio. Not leverage intelligence to optimize your strategy on Polymarket. Our product works. And I really do mean that. This is actually
Hey,
very
It's
important.
I mean, it
it does
does. We
work.
we we have a
I'm not
19 and 3
mocking you.
record.
I'm
Yeah.
saying it's just a
19
great
and 3,
slogan.
yeah,
19 and 3
9 and 3,
record.
yeah,
Like, I
19
feel
and 3.
like I feel like we don't actually advertise as much as we should. That's over 86% win rate
Yeah, like
using our
90.
Thank you.
tools. 90.
Thank you.
That's
So,
messy.
if there is a post or a video or something that is inspired by those words, please give me a credit. Just say thank you, Catherine. That will do. Don't need to mention me or anything like that. It's just or inspired by a recent episode that we did, something like that. Because our product works, and I think this is the one of the
I'll
best.
definitely I'll give you credit for it if
Oh
we
yeah,
end up changing
for
the
sure,
slogan.
for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, but I'm kidding. It's actually a very great point. And because we don't have a lot of time, and unfortunately we have to wrap up because well, Trey has to sleep, and Justin probably has to go to school and then work, or vice versa. Work and then go to school and stuff like that. But I'm kidding because we only have an hour, and it's almost up.
That was
The
fast.
question, yes, the question of prediction markets. I think the one that I'm very cautious and curious about at the same time, and maybe you have your own perspective on that, specifically because I've been working with news and have been following news. The question of insider trading is something that pains me a lot. Obviously we have seen a couple of cases on Kalshi. Is that pronounced Kalshi, the
Hmm.
prediction
Yeah,
market? Okay,
Kalshi. Yeah.
Kalshi, and then Polymarket, specifically this weekend alone. Right, there have been instances in which, oh my god, it's so difficult to be politically correct and not to offend anyone by saying what I'm about to say. So like, there have been some bets on Iranian leader being taken down, and some of the things happened, some of the things didn't happen, and it's not the first time somebody made money just a day prior to very important political
Yeah.
events. So I'm just throwing facts here and there to ask you a question. Is it even possible to try to sustain, or try to prevent insider trading with prediction markets? Is it even possible?
You
Because I think it's not possible. So, but
I
I
think
want
it's
to,
I think
yeah.
it's possible on like regulated and licensed prediction markets like Kalshi, because every trade is KYC, and unless they have a fake KYC, it's a little harder to do. But you can't stop it in like decentralized markets. I mean, it's on chain. I mean, you could deposit from like a Proton mail address. The thing about
Mhm.
us finding insiders is like a lot of times we can't find exactly who it is. We can find the wallet and like the motives. Um, we can't find like and nail exactly who that person is unless we were to go to like law enforcement or exchanges or something. Business, it's not our business to do. But yeah, even like on the commodity market, like we posted in January that we found some weird wallets on him being out, and it just seemed like a lot of sentiment was definitely internal. Maybe some things are changing on like strike plans or something, but yeah, we've had a few different government related insiders, and that wasn't a thing at first when we first built the tool. We weren't really expecting to find insiders in the government, but we're like 4-0 or something on them now. We caught like the U.S. shutdown being extended. We caught Eric Adams dropping out when he said he wasn't going to in all the social and all the media. Yeah, so it's just kind of going against the narratives a bit, and when people see that we put our reputation on the line every time we do a post, I think it helps us out, and that's why we've seen so much growth. But now you just gotta keep it up, have better tools, improved tools with a better team, and just make sure we scale this smoothly.
So basically, almost impossible if we're talking about kind of crypto-based prediction markets, right? If you're not a fully licensed KYC regulation based and all of that stuff.
Yeah, like the only time I've ever been able to find out who it is if like we can do deposit tracking through proxy wallets, and we can pull like relay transactions, and like if it goes back to like an ENS wallet or something that deposited into it, then we can tie that ENS wallet to someone else. But that's like 10% of the time, maybe less. Like,
yeah,
we do
and if you like track it back to exchange, it's not really much you can do from there. It's mostly a dead end half the time.
Not really. I mean, you can still do like time series analysis, like use like Arkham and a few tools. It's just you can never be 100% certain, because like someone could deposit into an exchange, just hold it there, or it could just be the same amounts. But you can do time series analysis, and it does line up sometimes. It's not 100% accurate, but it is possible. Yeah, there's a few other methods that people are starting to learn to really trace insiders, and we're trying to make sure that we get into those methods, because if, like you said, you can't prevent it, I think it's only going to get worse. Especially because there's just so many potential people who could do it. I mean, like it could be a cousin, it could be a friend, friend's friend. Like it's a cascading effect of who can get this information.
You don't have to be a crypto native to be an insider.
Right, exactly. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's a good way.
Not even crypto at all, right? We just kind of prediction markets gave an opportunity to everybody with prior knowledge to make money of it. That's it, with no repercussions whatsoever. At least for now, right?
Because all we can do is tail them, though. That's all we can do.
See, if you follow like Pentagon news, there is like the theory that pizza places around the Pentagon, if they're ordering a lot of things at night, it means that something is coming up, and this trend has been noticed, and so people could potentially think that something is going on, and if the recent news was about Iran, so maybe it's Iran, and so they could bet against something or for something and make a lot of money. So you're not related to any politician and to any crypto person. You just kind of, hey, they're ordering a lot of pizza. something is up. All right.
Always into at that point, though. Yeah, I feel like it works out. We know the founder of Pizza Watch, and he's getting so much traffic right now. It's insane.
Oh yeah, well, it is an insane time to live in. Let's be honest. But my last question is: have you guys personally made any bets? It could be silly. It could be personal or important. Have you made any bets on prediction markets? Maybe you're into, is Jesus coming? Is this the second coming this year?
Yeah, we tell every bet we have, like every bet that we post on our X, we buy ourselves. In Nova Scotia, like the Polymarket isn't banned, so for me, it's really easy just to make an account and sign up and trade. But we try to put a conviction on it. But what we're going to try to do here soon is like a community wallet or something, so that people can see and trace all of our bets on chain, and maybe motivation to some people. But yeah, most of the time it's mostly private though when we do it.
All right, but is it like more political stuff based on news, or just funny, sarcastic things? You can,
It's always insiders. Like our 19th year record is always insiders. There's nothing else.
That makes sense. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for this conversation. It was, I enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much for that. We all needed that conversation today. So yeah, it was such a pleasure talking to you and getting to know you guys. So in the end, I'd love to say that Polysights works.
Does work. Hey, it does
work. Our product works.
New UIs should be live by the time this podcast comes out.
Yes, so yes, in a week. Yeah. Right. Thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you.